think the comments so far have been spot on. The Fed just divorced rate policy from tapering. Tapering needs to get done. The hawks on the FOMC have been correct in asking and thinking about we want a faster taper. They've got a faster taper. They've pre-announced December. Get it over with, get it done, give us flexibility to do something, but they're not talking about rate hikes at either. That is to be discussed in December. They'll have a new dot plot, new forecast in December. That's when should see more clarity about what they think about the path of rates going forward.
Liz, turning over to you, I want to hit on something that Bob Pisani touched on, the SMH hitting a new record high today. The fact that the Fed funds rate did not change at all, seemingly getting a good reaction from growth investors. The NASDAQ up about 0.25% since that announcement was made, while the Dow has been fluctuating pretty wildly. What do you think keeping the rates the same means for growth stocks and especially those big mega cap tech names?
Well, I don't think anybody expected rates to move today too much, but I think the important part here to remember is that the market really got a lot more hawkish in the last couple of weeks. I think the market got ahead of itself, and expecting a June hike is really aggressive. I would be really surprised if that actually happened. So maybe now kind of paring that back, moving that expectation forward into, I would say probably September is more likely for the first hike, mostly because they want to leave space between tapering and tightening, not just because they keep saying that, but because they want to see if tapering controls some of the inflationary pressures in the market enough, and then they don't have to be in a rush to hike rates, which obviously is what tech is most sensitive to.
David Kelly, what are your thoughts here?
Oh, well, I do think it's a little bit hawkish because they could always have said, look, we're going to start the tapering in December, but they wanted to rush in an extra sort of $15 billion of tapering by putting in half of November in as a tapering month. That means that they're down to zero by June, or by the end of June. And what I think, but I don't expect a rate hike in July or in September. What I think they're trying to do is draw space between when they're done with tapering, when they start tightening, because they've always tried to say these are two distinct things. The other thing is, remember, all the supply chain issues which are pushing prices up now will end up pushing prices down 2 years out and maybe even 1 year out. So they're not going to be looking at skyrocketing inflation in terms of the headline numbers. And I think by next summer, they're still going to be trying to figure out, well, how much of this is permanent? How much of it is transitory now that some of these supply chain issues have cleared up? So I think that means that they're going to wait until the last meeting of 2022, just like they did in the last decade. They waited until the last meeting of the year to actually put in rate hikes.
Watching that 10-year note as you're speaking to see if the yield punches through 1.6% here, David. But just to go back to what you said, a lot of people are drawing conclusions from the November timeline here instead of waiting till next month. But is it possible, like John Spallanzani says, that they don't want to start tapering in December because that's just a light volume, a thinly traded month usually?
Well, no, because I think the announcement is what should affect the market right now. So it's, they will be tapering more in December. So they might, the question is, do they want to get going now? And then you've got sort of $30 billion of tapering cumulatively next month, or $15 billion. So, in fact, that logic would say that, they hold off until January. So I think that, no, I think they're being aggressive, a little bit aggressive. And, usually they're very dovish. But I think it's because these inflation numbers are genuinely high. But I think they're going to want to see how it all plays out by next summer. And that's why I think once they're done tapering, they're going to sit on their hands a little bit and try to figure out where they are.